And Mark Penn is standing by, the CEO and chairman of Stagwell Inc., and extremely valuable all the time, but especially now. Mark, I've been watching the last few days. I know it's only been a few hours since you left the air, but is there anything that happened since the rallies wrapped up for Trump at 2 in the morning after leaving Pennsylvania, went to Michigan, Grand Rapids, that we should know about that might affect your sense that you'd rather be Trump than Harris?
Well, look, I think 2 or 3 minor things happened. I think first, the final tallies that come in about the mail-in or walk-in votes are much better for the Republicans. And I put out an article this morning in the Hill explaining kind of the math that really Republicans will pick up at least a point because their voters are in the bank rather than having to rely on Election Day. I thought the endorsements, from Joe Rogan and particularly, Megyn Kelly at the end were significant, a little late, but it does suggest that you don't endorse somebody on the eve of an election unless you think they're going to win, okay? So at least they think he's going to win, and I thought they were actually 2, pretty powerful, pretty strong endorsements compared to the surprising celebrity close. I've never been a big fan of celebrities, backing political candidates because it mixes the trivial with the serious. And of course, in Dixville Notch, they split 3-3, and last time those same voters were 6 for Joe Biden.
So here is Megyn Kelly last night. In case you didn't know, she got a call yesterday or the day before and said, would you join me in Pennsylvania? She said yes, cut 12.
Then he dropped a bunch of F-bombs, and I thought, I really enjoy this feeling of proving Mark Cuban wrong. And so here I am at a Trump rally, a strong, intelligent woman to prove Mark Cuban wrong again.
And the crowd really received her well. She turned around and saluted the hard hat guys behind, the steelworkers, who said, yeah, my management wants to endorse Harris, but the steelworkers showed up last night. And what about the symbolism, Mark Penn, of steelworkers showing up for Trump and Oprah and Lady Gaga showing up for Harris? As who would you want, blue collar versus, I don't know, polite society?
Well, look, believe it or not, it's a political campaign, not a soap opera. So, again, when I actually ran the Democratic Convention, I all but threw Hollywood out. I just believe that this idea of running a campaign on the basis of celebrities endorsing when they they have no expertise in the issues, they don't live the issues, they're far removed from kind of everyday life compared to steel workers who are, right in the thicket, who feel the brunt of foreign steel being made versus U.S. steel, who live the very issues of this campaign. So I've always been in favor of that. I've always been against the kind of celebrity type clothes. And unless you believe this is sort of some kind of new internet age where people just vote on the basis of stuff like that and don't care about the issues anymore, it is a stark contrast for closing. Not that I think a lot of people are deciding. I think this election has been decided.
I know you thought 2 weeks ago I've been almost like a stalker, listening to almost everything you said. But I thought when Van Jones said this last night, I got to pull this for the radio show. He was on CNN, and he's not a Trump fan. Cut 23.
That whole Iowa poll thing got everybody all happy. That was just silly. That was a great pollster with a bad poll. We are behind in Pennsylvania, folks. We are behind. We're not where we're supposed to be in the early vote, and that means get up and go vote. Stand in long lines, do what you have to do. When she says she's the underdog, she is the underdog. And I think it's important for people, when you go to bed tonight, to think about, do I know anybody in a swing state? Can I text them? Can I call them? Can I push people to go vote?
It's pretty much what you were saying, but I guess something that he saw, which he is privileged to, really alarmed him, because there was no salesmanship in that. That was just a guy saying, I think the other guy's winning.
Well, look, I think it's standard get out the vote fair to say the other guy's winning unless you go vote. So I don't put much stock in any of that. I think a lot of this, Trump was ahead in the last 2 weeks. The Democrats were conceding, was trying to get their vote out. I just go by the facts that there was 1 million difference in the last time, and there's maybe 400,000 difference. That's 600,000 votes that have been picked up, in fact, right, that have to come out differently for Democrats on election day to win, and that's just the only fact that we actually know. And I think in terms of the Iowa poll, I've I coined soccer moms, I call them now soccer grannies. They do care about abortion. It will be interesting to see, how they come out. I think that the theory is that senior women will not be as strong for Trump as they otherwise would be, because I think, Harris has been successful, driving the abortion issue. And surprisingly, it's older women who care about it because they are from the age when it was really illegal, who tend to care about it even more. So we'll see that, that's a factor, but I think that's already in the polls. I don't think that's something new. We have older women in every one of the 50 polls that were done in the last few days.
So Mark Penn, our guest. So Mark, let's talk about the pathway to victory if we could. So Trump's most likely pathway would be Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. I don't think it's a stretch or a push, and I have Doug Collins next from Georgia, to think that couldn't go that way. And then if he nails Pennsylvania, he's at 281. He can lose Pennsylvania and still win the presidency, but he's got to sweep the Sun Belt and win one of the blue wall states, which I guess hasn't been done. Is it true that blue wall has not been broken since 1988? Go one, go all?
Yeah, it is true, but, it doesn't mean anything in the sense that demographics and local issues in these states change, and I think they have changed. Look, I think everything points to Pennsylvania. Well, first of all, the interesting thing is everybody knows this time kind of where the game is. If you go back to 2016, nobody knew where the game was, and everybody was kind of shocked and surprised. In fact, the Hillary campaign didn't know where the game was. They hadn't even campaigned in the blue wall. And so this time everybody seems to know everything. I think Pennsylvania is the key state, but I think that the auto worker issue in Michigan, Trump has really pressed, could be strong in turning Michigan, that most people think is more difficult, if not Pennsylvania, which I've always found more difficult, for a Republican to win. So I think those are the two most likely changes. If in fact there's been a close here in Trump's direction, yes, all three could go, but he only needs one, right? And I think that he's got more than a 50% chance of getting one.
So overall, things have changed. I don't care who wins. Things have changed. You mentioned this. We've gone blue. Republicans have gone blue collar, and they're out there. They're done everything except get the union vote, but they got the blue collar vote. And it seems like the Democrats are more comfortable in the upper class, upper middle class, like the people of means. If in fact it's true, how weird would it be for the richest man to ever run for president, maybe per capita, to be the one to change a party from white collar to blue collar?
Yes, I think that is the irony of the situation. But it is interesting, America, even George Washington was actually per capita. He's per capita the wealthiest at the time. America has trusted people like this to do good, they think, because they don't need money. So it is a fascinating. You look at the Kennedys, the Roosevelts, even like if you go back to Washington. So yes, but it is totally ironic that Trump has turned the Republican Party into largely a working class party, and without those voters, the Republican Party would be completely trounced. While the Democratic Party is a new professional party, and has completely reoriented its agenda, right, for into these more educated elite voters. And this flip around here really has been brought about mostly by Trump and what he did in 2016.
Yeah, my last thing is Roberto Clemente. I was just like 6 or 8 years old, but I remember him, and the name is just royalty in baseball and sports. But for Central and South America and for Puerto Rico, he literally walks on water. He died with batting 300, 3,000 hits. And he had his son come out, Puerto Rican, days after that comedian, or 1 week after that comedian made his comments about Puerto Rico and said, Donald Trump is my guy. I know that Joe Rogan stole the headlines with the endorsement, but does that endorsement help in Pennsylvania?
Well, it could help. I don't know how much time there is, And we don't really know the effect of the media blasting this comedian joke
I
as
hear
though
you.
it was something Trump said. Well, we don't really know the impact. There's some contradictory information. I believe that Trump will do better with Latinos because Latinos think the economy is going in the wrong direction. If you look in the polls, black voters, by and large, say the economy is going in the right direction and therefore are overwhelmingly going to vote for Harris. Latino voters largely say the economy is going in the wrong direction. They're largely working class voters. I think Trump is going to do better there than Republicans have ever done.
What's your schedule today, Mark? When are we going to see you on TV?
I'm going to be there tonight, so hanging around from 7 to 2 a.m., wherever they throw me in, I'll be there.
So I know that they expect North Carolina and Georgia to go quickly, and maybe Michigan. What's going to leave us hanging around?
Oh, Pennsylvania is gonna definitely leave us hanging around for a long time. Remember Arizona and Nevada, how long we fretted. So Nevada could let us hang around. If things are going well, Arizona will not take as long as it did last time because the evidence is that the polls are much stronger. And I always look at New Hampshire first, right? If New Hampshire is like 10 points for her, that's pretty good. And if it's 2 points, then that is pretty good for him. People think that these states move independently. They don't. When 20,000 votes move in the swing states, about 2 million votes have moved in the rest of the country because we're all in more or less a common media environment with the exception of a couple of local issues.
All right, Mark, always great. Thanks so much. It's going to be an exciting night. I'm glad you're going to be there to break it down for us. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.